Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to talk about SAS function. So SAS function has a wide variety of inbuilt functions that is available in programming, and that is mainly used for analyzing and processing the data. So SAS function is used as a part of data statements. So how SAS function works? So basically SAS function pass through an arguments and create a new variable. So this is just for easy understanding. I have a data set where name is written in both uppercase and lowercase. You can see here. And for example, I'm going to turn off this statement, and when I will run this program you will see that this name variable has these value which is letters are not properly written. So if I wanted to make this value uppercase, so I have to use uppercase function. So you have to basically use uppercase function here, and you have to pass these functions with this variable, and a new variable will be created. So you can see that. So when I will run this program, you can see a new variable is created here, and values is now changed into uppercase. So this is just to easy understanding that how it passes through an arguments and create a new variable. So in SAS, there are three different types of function. First one is arithmetic function, that is mainly used in numeric variables, and string functions mainly used in character variables, and there are many advanced variables are also available in SAS programming that I will explain you. That is also available, and there are date and time functions. So these functions I will explain one by one, and first of all I will explain you about the arithmetic functions. For example, we have a data set here, name, and these are the variables available. So when I will run this program, you will see that how this data set look like. So this is the name variable, this is ID, age, and this is weight. So these are the numeric variables, and this name is character variables. You can see that. So age is numeric, weight is numeric, and ID is also numeric, but our name is a character variable. So I'm going to use a different function here to find a new variables with a new value. For example, I'm using different kind of functions here, integer functions, round functions. So what it does, it change into a round figure, and this is how this is the formatting. If you need one decimal, it will give you one decimal after rounding, and this is the floor. So this one will give you the lower value of the whatever the value you have, and this is the cell functions. This will give you the upper closest value, and you can use also functions like max functions and round functions. You can use multiple functions together as well, and this is the min functions for the minimum value from these two variables. There are mean functions as well that will give you a mean value of these three value from three variables, and this is sum function. So this is give you a sum total of these two variables, and this is the again additions using this plus operator. So this gives you row wise sums. I will show you how it works here. So this is arithmetic function, I'm using it. So when I will run this program, you will see a new data set will created and name FUN12 data set. So you can see this is our original values, ID, age, and weight. And after running different function, you can see the lower values is collected. This is the upper values are collected, and these values are changing. You can use sum function here using additions of the two different variables. Here the mean of three different variables, and this is how I run this program for finding the minimum value of among these two variables. So these all are the arithmetic variables that is mainly used, and you can notice that sum is here row wise. For example, here by adding, if you want to add this variable and this variable, you have to use sum function and provide the name of the first variable comma name of the second variable, then it will give you the sum of this variable here. For example, So this is a row wise, but if you want to collect sum uh, column wise, you have to use sum statement in your proc print statement. So for example, I'm using here proc print and sum statement here, and this will give you a total of the id, total of age, and total of weight, and total of sm variables. So this is how it's look like, you can see. So this is sum of the whole column, and here I'm using sum row wise. So this is the sum function is used row wise like this. So you have to understand it. If you want a total value, you have to use sum statement in your proc print, not sum function. So this is all about the basically arithmetic function. Now moving to string function. As I told you, the string functions is mainly used in character variables. For example, this is a data set here, and you can see that this data set again has four variables: name and patient ID and age and weight, and you can get like more information about these variables. These all three are the numeric, and name is mainly character. So if you want to use this um, string function, so we have a different kind of a string functions. We have an upcase function, we have a low case function, we have a prop case function, we have a length function. Length functions can easily measure the length of the value. This is the quote function that will quote your value, and this is decode. So whatever the quoted value here, I'm passing this quoted value through this function, it will again decode this value. This will left function will move your value to the left side of the your column, and this is the right function will move your value to the right side of the column if there are some space left over there. So for example, when I will run this program, you can see that these four variables are from the original data, and when this upcase functions changes this value into upcase, and lowcase function changed this value into lowcase. All the values here are in lowcase. This is prop function change these value into prop case. The length function measure basically the length of these value. This is the 4 character, this is again 4, this is 5, this is 3. So that can be easily measured using the length function. This is the quote function. So quote function give like quoting quotations mark in these values. And when these quote functions pass through the decode function, so again this quotation marks basically removed. This is the left function, so that move the values from the left hand side, and this is the right functions, so this moved into the right hand side. It's not very much visible, but some data where the more space are there, that can easily visible over there. So these are the basic string functions. There are some advanced string function is also available. So in advanced string function, to understand it, we have to understand a data set first. So this is a data set where I'm going to apply advanced string function. So first we have to look how the data look like. So there are different variables here: patient ID, initials, and you can say the name of the subject, age. This is the AE, and this is the drug variable. So I'm going to use different function, and you can see that how it is going to work. So this is program I'm using that data set and creating a new data set here, and I'm going to use length function. So length functions basically give you the length of your variables. So for example, name. So if I'm using length function, it will give you the length of this variables for this value, especially for this row. And if I'm using index function, so index functions also return to the position of the character, but here you have to provide for positions from up to what you want to get the position. So here I'm giving the space, so it will find the positions till this space is present. And if are using a, then it will look for the positions when the a is appearing first time. So when it will scan this value, and when first time a will appear, so this will be the position when you are using index function. And if it is using z, so it will scan for the z in this value, and if no, then it will return to 0 basically. And this is the index scan function is also very important. And if you are using scan function and you are providing basically uh, left to right and to find the first value, so it will scan and passes this scan function to this argument name variables and look for the first value. So it will basically take out the first value from the this variable. And if you're using -1 here instead of +1, it will work right to left and it will pick the last value. So that was the surname or the last name will be taken out from this value. And this is how it works. Substring functions is also work in the same way. It's basically take out a part of the value from a string. For example, in the first name, it's passing through the argument which is name here, and look for the first value, and up to 3 basically later it will take it out. For example, it will go for the first value and it will take out the first 3 letters from this value. So this is how this work actually. And for example, if you are using substring function for this drug value from the first, and it will pick the 6 up to 6 and from the 7 it will pick up to next two value. So it will be explained when I will run this program. So let's go and run this program here, so it will be very easy to understand. So you can see that these first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, these are the original data set. And after using the length function, you can see the length of this whole value is 14 here. And this is the index function. So I'm index functions with a space in their argument. So it will look with the first space here appearing. So it will give a value up to this. So the positions is again 8, and this is when you are using an argument there with a. So first time a is appearing here, so you can see that how it is working. Here we use a z. Basically you can see here, so it will not find any z value here, so it will return to 0 basically, you can see here. And this is a scan function I'm using and providing the first value. You can see that, so it will pick from left to right. So in that case it will pick the first name here, and again we are using -1, then it will pick the last value from here. And this is the substring function. So substring functions, as I told you, it will subtract a string when you provide the start position and to up to what length you are looking for. So this is how it is going to work here. So it will pick the first one with the name when you are giving the 1 and 3 in this position, you can see here. So this is the part of the string, this is the starting position, and this is the number of characters basically you are subtracting from the value. And this is again, I'm using the string functions here as well from the different start and different in position, so you can basically get the value according to your requirement. So this is yeah, very important to understand all these advanced function, and when you will work with the real data set you will get more experience and you will get more idea about it. So this is all about the string function. So the last part, I'm going to explain you about date and time function. So first of all, I will explain you about the date and current date. So how you can find a current date in your program. So for example, you can use date function here, and you have to leave the argument blank, and the same with the today function, you have to leave argument blank, so it will give you the value of today. And you can also use the automatic macro value variables here, but remember that you have to write macro variables like this using the quotations and then d value here. And this is the format I wanted to use to get it, and I'm getting this value in my log, so that's why I'm writing a put statement here. So when I will run this program, you can see that these values will appear as processed. So for example, a is, this is the A. You can see that today date is appearing here. This is the B. So both are giving, the current date, uh, as well as, the today functions. When you are leaving the argument blank, it will give you the current date. And this is, the macro variables, automatic macro variables, that is I'm using here. So this is how you will get the current date actually. And if you want to use these dates, with a specific format, you can write that format within, the arguments, and you can change this in using the put function. So put will change this value into character value. So for example, you can see that it is a character variables, and you can use any variable. So here I'm using format month, date, and year. You can change it into the new any other variable. For example, yeah, if I'm going to create a third date here, and I'm going to use here another format, say date 9. So it will give you another format date here. So for example, just let's run this program and you will see. So another format with that date is appearing here. So this is how the current date and its format can be handled. And moving next to the date functions, we have a date. Suppose this is a birth date that is given here, that is 22nd October 1991, and you want to name the day of that birth, and how it is going to work. So there are different functions related to the date function: day function, month function, year function, and quarter function, and weekday functions. So for example, if you want to know that what is the day on this birthday, so day function will get the information about day, which is 22nd. So month function will pass through this birth date value. It will get information and it will grab the information of the month, and the year will provide you the information of year, and then quarter, it will give you that which quarter this birth date is, and weekday, like which weekday is basically this birthday. So let's run this program and you will know that what is going on here. So this is very easy to understand. This is the birth date, which is 22nd October 91. So day function basically in date 1, which is 22nd, and date 2, which is month, is 10, and year is basically date 3, so you can say 1981. The quarter is the fourth quarter, and this is the day if you wanted to know that which day. So this is the third day of the week. So this is how these date function works. So this is a basic date function, but if you wanted to know about the calculations, and if you wanted to learn about the calculation, then you have to basically look for the other functions. So here is the date diff functions, which is useful to get the difference between the birthday and the current date. And this is the actual time, you have to write it. And the intick functions is also uh, give the same value. So let's run this program for the calculations purpose, and you will know that what is going on here. So you can see the date 5, which is the difference. So this will give you the value in days basically. So the intake functions is also giving the same value, that is in day, if you are using day here. And if you are using year, so you can know that the difference between the birth date and the current date, it's 32 years. So if you are using year here, you will get the information that how many years difference between birth date and today date. And this is, if you are using quarter, you will know that how many quarters are there. And if you are using week, you can use weeks. And if you wanted to use month, you can use months, so that how many months from birth date to the current date, you can easily calculate these values. So this is all about the difference between the date that you can easily calculate. And for example, here is another example of calculation. If you wanted to know, this is the birth date, and you wanted to know that when is the retirement after the 60 years, what will be the date and time, date at that time. So in that case, you have to write 60 here, because that is the number you need to know, and this is the retirement date. You can easily calculate using the index function, and you have to write the starting of the date, birth date, and after 60 years, what will be the date. So this is how you can calculate the retirement date here. And sometime what we will get is our date in date and time format. So for example, here values have both date and time. So to separate this, we can use date part function. So what will do date part function, it will separate date, and it will give you a new variables here. And if you use time part function, it will separate the time part of this value, and it will basically generate in new variables here. So when I will run this program, you can see that so two new variables will be created here. One is the XX, so this will give you the October 21st 2016. So date part is separated. And when you are using time part function, so it will separate the time part. So this is all about the date and time function. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe my channel. Thank you very much for watching.